Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And it's time to talk about the one series that we've always wanted as Dark Side of the Ring watchers. This is our Dark Side of Vince McMahon on Netflix, of course. Now, in my personal opinion, this particular series was supposed to be something that would lead us into Netflix's acquisition of Monday Night Raw. But regardless of all of that, we got a massive warts and all series regarding the entire era of Vince McMahon within the WWE. Today we have D Jose 101. How you doing?
Damn it, shut up. All right, now I'm here. Now we're going to talk about me, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I am the greatest wrestling promoter of all time, and I'm not going to admit to anything that you people don't need to know.
Wonderful. Beneath me, we have G. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm looking forward to talk about this because, blimey.
Yeah, exactly. And last but by no means least, Cheeto.
Can't wait to talk about Vinny Macaroo.
Okay, so I'm going to pass this around, but as I said earlier in my introduction, we've always wanted the Dark Side of the Ring episode of Vince McMahon, and I think we got 5 episodes worth of it. It was pretty much a trip down memory lane. A lot of things that we have covered in the past, not only on Dark Side, but various other documentaries and stuff like that regarding wrestling. So many things. We went over the screw job again, WrestleMania 3, all of
Hulkamania,
Hulkamania, all of that. It was nice, but what we really wanted was more about Vince, and we got a lot of that in the first episode and in the final episode. And Vince himself, in my personal opinion, felt like a guy who kind of considered himself to be a bit untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
He went through so many scandals when it became covering up for Jimmy Superfly Snooker's murders. Obviously, the death of Owen Hart. We have the steroid scandals as well, and he had multiple allegations of sexual assault against him prior to the more recent ones, which actually got him kicked from the company. Hello there, Winslow. How you doing? And Nerdiverse. But let's just get a brief idea of the episode, the series in general from the rest of you guys. Jose, how did you find it?
If you're a hardcore WWE fan, you're not really going to learn anything new here. I mean, honestly, for me, it didn't really pick up until episodes 5 and 6 when they went into like the Vince McMahon Trish Stratus thing. There was a couple WTF moments, like with the Rita Marie thing, which we'll talk about that, the referee scandal. But honestly, this just felt like more of a history of WWE, Doc, with just Vince plastered on it, and it didn't really tell me anything that I don't already know. You know, it was a good watch, but it's like I've seen this 1,000 times. If you've got the network or Peacock, you know the history of WWE, and that's basically what you got.
Yeah, I agree with you there. A lot of it was just you talk about filler.
Mm-hmm.
This series, there was a ton of filler and not as much McMahon as I wanted.
Yeah,
in my personal opinion. Gee, what have you got to say?
I agree with what Jose said. It was a lot of stuff that we already know, like the Monday Night Wars, the beginning of the WWF taking over the territories, all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't stuff that we really kind of have seen before, but it was good to watch it. Just because, like, just to see the guy admit to stuff that you'd heard rumors about, but you never actually heard confirmation, and now you heard it from his own mouth of him admitting to some pretty skeezy stuff. Like, I'd always heard there's a rumor that he tried to do the storyline with him impregnating Stephanie.
Yep.
Yeah, he even admitted that.
Yeah, he admitted that.
He admitted that.
But he also made it sound like he had. I was going to bring that up. He also made it sound like he couldn't remember. He had no idea that storyline was going to go on. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he came up with that storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'd also like other stuff like he was like this this boss and stuff like that. I mean, the thing is that he, as I said, he didn't tell me anything I didn't know about Vince McMahon anyway, but it's good for some of it to be coming from his own mouth. And also, they got gold dust in the fact that this whole scandal thing happened while they were filming the series. So that's good. That was almost, auspicious timing by them.
Yeah.
Before I get to you, Cheeto, just got a quick comment here from Rick B. Hey, hi, ladies. I'm up to episode 4. I knew 99% of what was shown, but it made me admire and respect Vince more. You might not like him, but he definitely did. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
No.
He doesn't deserve our respect.
I'll give him this. As a promoter, he's one of the GOATs. He put the pen to paper, but the wrestlers did the work. That's how I look at it with Vince.
I've always said, what if the territory still remained? You know, what would the landscape of wrestling still be like if he never bought up everybody like he did and monopolized wrestling like he did? We'll never know, but we shouldn't necessarily have to thank him for that. And also, sorry, Cheetah, I promise you, I will get to you, mate. We did see like that referee who spoke out about the sexual allegation scandals that regarding Vince McMahon, and she was she back in the late 80s, early 90s. She basically poured her heart out, and unfortunately back then, you know, women who were sexually assaulted were also looked as the culprits, not necessarily the victims. And it was really bad because they were all judging her, saying that you're trying to sue him for a meal ticket. What were you wearing? How were you acting? How were you behaving?
Yeah,
you know, all of these things. It was terrible, and Vince got away with stuff like that, which is why he probably felt like he can get away with sexual assault all the time.
He kind of outed himself without directly outing himself. That was the what the fuck moment for me. Yeah,
and I really felt sorry for that referee because she was crying, and you know, and she got assaulted and stuff, and nobody gave her the time of day. Cheeto, finally, mate, what have you got to say about this episode?
Well, I mean, you know, it comes down to, you know, and first off, get this trash comment off of here. It comes down to the point of, you know, respect. So like, yeah, you have to respect. No, you don't. You don't have to respect. You can acknowledge the fact that he revolutionized the business. You do not have to respect the fact that person did. I'm gonna bring up the one we don't speak of, Chris Benoit. His entire career just is a highlight reel of what wrestling is. And in one instance, it all gets fucked.
Yeah, overshadows everything he ever did. I don't care what you say.
Exactly. Yep. And Vince McMahon, and although Vince McMahon, as far as we know, didn't murder anybody, his career is littered with rape and with bullying and with just every we can't prove murder, but he helped cover up murder from what I understand with Snuka.
Yeah,
you know, people even say one of my favorite parts of this documentary is Vince McMahon, them saying, what do you see? Like, do you see you in Mr. McMahon, the character being this? He said, no, nothing at all. And then every single person after that said nothing at all. Not at all. Now a more exaggerated like, come on. Like, and then you go back and you watch all of Vince McMahon. I never liked the Mr. McMahon character. I like the Eric Bischoff character because at least Eric Bischoff was the boss that like was unlikable, but it wasn't like you saw the things that McMahon did on the screen and people, you know, loved it and blah blah blah. But it's just like, no, like Eric Bischoff was a better unlikable boss to me. Vince made me uncomfortable as an unlikable boss. Like some of the Stone Cold stuff was fine. Like a lot of the Stone Cold stuff was fine, but when he started involving women and like all the sexual things, that's when I got really uncomfortable. And I'm like, no. Like
when he made Ashley Mazzaro cry, that pissed me off. I'm like, I know that was, you know, a character thing, but it's like, okay, Vince, come on, man, you don't have to take it that far.
It's not even that. It's the characterization of women and stuff like that. And I mean, he's just playing out his fantasies on TV. You know what I mean? And that's fine. Like, because, you know, you could say, oh, well, and here's my thing is that when you go into a movie script as an actor, like if it was all like characters on the WWE going through these things because it was written for them, that's one thing. Vince McMahon was writing himself doing these things. It's like if the director, say Taika Waititi, says, "Hey, I'm gonna have a sex scene with Jane Foster in this scene." That's just the first one that popped in my head. You know what I mean? Like Taika Waititi directing the movie, all of a sudden writes a script where he is now having all of these relations with Jane Foster that A, makes no sense, and B, makes people feel uncomfortable. It's not even natural.
Yeah.
So no, you don't. And okay, so and then Rick B says I get too emotional. How can you not? Like there is a business portion of this, and there is a emotional portion of this. The business portion of it, whatever sells the business, but there's a line. Even Triple H said it himself, and he was trying to be nice, but you could see it where he was like, "Oh yeah, this is way too far." but
Yep.
Vince made me do it anyway. Yeah, because
Yep.
The
he was the most powerful man in wrestling.
Yeah.
Christ.
I think we have to give a shout out to two people in this documentary. Actually, three: Shane McMahon, Bret Hart, and Tony Atlas. They were the MVPs of this entire thing.
Tony Atlas
Everybody
for sure.
Yep. Yeah. They were the MVPs.
I mean, the thing is that hearing like them talk about, because I kind of knew about the stuff in I think it's the second episode where they talked about ring boys and the sexual favors and the flaming Pat Patterson stuff. I mean, I'd heard about the Pat Patterson stuff, but like I always thought it was just rumor. But then you actually hear that this promoter was like getting ring boys in so we could like basically wrestle with him and stuff like that. And it's just like awful shit. Apparently he's in prison now and I hope he rots. But then you hear that flaming that Pat Patterson would flaming do stuff, and then like Tony Atlas said that he felt his cock, and it was just like, what the actual fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
If I want to give Vince McMahon credit for something he did right, in my opinion, it was the issue regarding concussions and headshots and stuff like that. He went in the right direction with that. Obviously, the Benoit thing kind of made him go that direction, but I don't think nobody saw that what was coming. A wrestler's dying prematurely is one thing. Benoit took his own life. He after killing his family, it was a little bit different there, but it was all to do with a mixture of performance enhancing drugs and obviously concussions and things like that, which made him go over the edge. And was it Chris Nowinski who had
yes, Chris Nowinski.
Yeah, like dealing with him and learning about concussions, stopping the headshots with the chair, which should have been stopped a long time ago, in my opinion. I don't like. I mean, these guys are fucking muscle-bound freaks hitting you over with a chair and getting a sound out of it.
I still cannot watch Rock Mankind Royal Rumble '99 to this day because of knowing what we know now. I still can't watch it.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
fair enough. Sorry,
just regarding the concussions and stuff like that. I mean, here's the other thing. Stone Cold Steve Austin says, "I'm not a CTE guy." Blah blah blah.
He has it.
No. He doesn't. No. He said, "Oh, if you're doing it, you're doing something wrong." How often did we see Stone Cold? I almost jumped off the couch when I was watching.
Yeah.
How often have we seen Stone Cold Steve Austin do half of the moves that Chris Benoit did? Even a quarter. I'm sorry. Rock, Stone Cold, great entertainers, shit wrestlers. They don't do shit. They kick, they punch, they stunner, they rock bottom, they elbow drop. Oh no, like you can sit there and argue about the chair shots and stuff like that, but Chris Benoit put his body on the line every single week, more than just flying headbutts and stuff, body. We didn't see that the Rock and them do that much.
I was actually very disappointed with Austin when he mentioned that he's not is it CTE?
Yeah, CTE guy.
When he said he wasn't, he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. Actually disappointed, but I really thought Stone Cold was on the level, and for him to act all like tinfoil hat redneck on that particular issue really upset me. Okay, go on, Gary. Go on.
I was going to say, like, the thing they should have brought up was bring up the fact that Steve Austin twice was done for domestic abuse of his ex-wives. And Fabian was arrested for that stuff.
Yeah, but there's so many other wrestlers who got so much baggage. It wasn't their documentary; it was about Vince. I
think that's to do with CTE because he did get a lot of shots to his head.
Yeah, CTE can alter your mood. It can make you feel depressed. It can make you rage. It can make you do all these kind of things. Yeah. Steve Austin, for somebody to say that, I don't believe in CTE, Steve, you have CTE, dude. Like you've taken chair shots. You've taken damage to the dome. You literally got dropped on your fucking head.
That pole driver by Owen Hart was like something else, man.
Well, but I also kind of disagree with the CTE thing with Austin only because, as I said, Benoit put his body on the line literally 5,000 times more than Austin did, and I'm talking about like quality, not quantity.
The physical aspect, he really did. Benoit did really put his body on the line physically way more than Stone Cold did.
Yeah. He really did. And
Yeah.
look, I'm not discounting any of their sacrifices to the business. I am not saying that they did not sacrifice their bodies for the business. But for someone to sit there and say, "Oh, CTE is not a thing," I'm going to sit there and critique you for that, because I'm sorry, as somebody who deals with brain damaged individuals, I know what I'm looking at. And they were showing the scans in the show. There was clear, and it was the Benoit X-ray.
Yeah, giant pockets in the brain, and your brain is not supposed to look like that.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, they're not doing it right." No, I think he was doing it right. It's just the quantity of how much he was doing, of that kind of, self-destructive. I don't know how to say it. Self-destructive wrestling, diving headbutts and diving through the ropes and all those things.
Yeah, but you can dive through the ropes and do diving headbutts safely. And the thing is that with Benoit, he would land on people with his full head, and you do that. I mean, how many days a week did they do that? I mean, I think they talked about it in the first when WWE was there. They worked 7 days a week.
I have to call bullshit on that. I got to call bullshit on that. They did not work 7 days a week. You had at least 1 or 2 days off. Even in the 80s, guys got to take time off. They fucking overemphasize, like, "Oh yeah, we work 7 days a week." No, you didn't. I don't think they did.
Well, I know, like, when they do tours and stuff like that, they pretty much work 7 days a week. Like, I saw the schedule of the times they were in Europe and they do all these fucking house shows, and they were constantly doing 7 days a week. I want to get back to Ginger Greek's comment here, because this is something I overlooked. Well, they omitted the bit where they took the route because they were threats of lawsuits from Benoit family and the mounting evidence. I never knew about that, but if that's what it took to do the right thing, I'm glad that was the case. Yep. Vince McMahon, welcome David Ruska. Vince McMahon is the Nikola Ceausescu ripoff. If you don't know who Nikola Ceausescu is,
I do not know who that is.
He was a Romanian dictator, I believe, and he was the guy he was the leader of their country. All the tax money he got, he just basically put it into building a palace for himself. He ripped off his entire citizens, and eventually the people of Romania overthrew him and killed him. I think they killed him. I mean, I might be wrong on that, but he definitely got killed.
Well, when you become a servant of a people, you come by their judgment. That's the French. That's one thing the French did right, man. These politicians and rulers they're supposed to be servants of the people, and when they don't do right by the people, I think sometimes the French had it right.
But
he said Vince McMahon and Nikola Ceausescu ripoff. Oh, the military executed him. Yeah, close enough. Yeah,
getting back on topic because we don't want to lose ourselves.
Hey. We all work. That's our MO.
Yes, it is. And so is a fucked up haircut, but okay. Yep.
There it is.
So is that fucked up haircut. I have to look at that. I got to stare at that. I hate it so much. But anyway. All right, yeah. Tony Atlas and Bret Hart, and I'm ignoring you, and Shane McMahon. I feel so sorry. I know we're going all over the place. I feel so sorry for Shane McMahon in this documentary, man. The fact that all he wanted was approval and validation from his dad, and he never really got that. That was probably the saddest part of the documentary, aside from Owen and Benoit, to me.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I personally have more of an issue with Bret Hart. Like, all the shit he went through with Vince McMahon, and after his brother died, he forgives him for that. Like, he doesn't blame him for that. Like, it's ridiculous.
I think that was more. I think that was more Bret saying, "Look, on a professional level, I can't stand Vince McMahon. I don't like him." But he said that I don't know if he said he forgave him. Maybe he did, but he was like he wasn't like after
once he found out it was an accident.
He was like, "Okay, that's it. Like it was an accident. I get that."
Look, it was an accident, but it was an accident that could have been avoided because they mentioned the things about the Caribbean and stuff like that. And I've always said, like, these guys are wrestlers; they're not abseilers. If they shouldn't have to be hoisted down to the fucking ring if they don't want to do that. And apparently, he was against all of that. And then. I don't know, and he.
I agree with you on that. If a talent doesn't want to do something like that, I agree they shouldn't have to do it. Find somebody like Sting was all on board with the whole coming from the rafters thing. Like he thought it was awesome.
I mean, they could have just had Owen go through the crowd and then he falls off the guardrail just for comedic effect. It would have accomplished the same thing because they tried to do like a superhero thing.
He was being punished as well at the same time for
for turning down the Deborah angle. Yeah.
No, but also for what Bret Hart did, and that's Vince McMahon's memo. Like he will fuck somebody else over who's associated with the person who fucked him over, or he alleges or like is upset with. You know, and that's what. That's what he does, you know. And
that's what happened to Triple H. He was like, "Well, I can't touch Shawn. These two guys are gone. I guess Paul has to pay for it." You know, like, and it's like really like, I get that he was there, and I get that, but like, what I don't know. I just it seems very narcissistic. For him to be like, oh, someone has to pay, and I can't touch Shawn. So Paul, although I like you and I think you're going to be my son-in-law one day, I'm gonna make you pay.
I'm gonna make you pay. And let's be real, kayfabe. We all know kayfabe died in the '80s when Vince came out and he had to come out and he had to say, okay, look, wrestling for all intents and purposes is sports entertainment, and it's predetermined. It was like, come on, man. Everyone knew by that point for 10 years that kayfabe died. It was like everyone in the Garden knew because the Garden was a smart town. New York's a smart town. Now everywhere's a smart town because we all got the internet. Everyone knows the terms. It's like, come on, Vince. How out of touch are you and Bruce Pritchard and these others old timers?
I mean, people look at the curtain call, which was recalled again as the moment kayfabe officially died. But people were already knowing about. Some people caught up a little bit later than others. But people were already knowing that it's all a work anyway. And when you got somebody like Vince McMahon who is a ring announcer, and then next thing you know, you see him on TV in a courtroom trial for fucking. And being the alleged owner, and like, what the hell? This guy announces matches. How the hell is this guy the fucking owner of the company?
Right.
It kind of like blurs the lines. Sorry, Gary.
No, but he did the right thing. Though, like it would be no different than if, let's say, for example, in the middle of a movie, Steve Rogers and Thanos we're finishing fighting, and all of a sudden they went, "Hey, let's hit the hut." Or something like that, or maybe just some ridiculous bloody like taggy. It's just like,
but Gary, I've heard you mention about protecting the business. I've heard you talk about protecting the business, and this guy fucking, I'm on the top of the food chain. Fuck the business. If it means me, if it means what's good for me, then fuck the business. And he was always like that, Vince McMahon. Nobody else can improvise, but I can improvise. He was like that all the fucking time, once he became sole ruler.
Yeah, if you get off script, I might fire you or punish you, but I could go off script all I want because I'm Vince McMahon, damn it. And that's pretty much how he was.
And for me, what I noticed, one of the biggest problems for the WWE was the lack of competition, because the moment the lack of competition happened, and he never thought TNA was ever competition to him.
Nope.
But the moment he bought WCW out, he probably felt, I'm king of the fucking world.
Yep, I can do whatever I want, and I can make my product. I can make my product as shit as I want, and we'll still get ratings and numbers, and they still did.
I mean, honestly, if Bret Hart was around in the post WCW payoff era, would he necessarily get the push he would have gotten? Because he's quite a bland wrestler as when it comes to charisma. He hasn't got it. Yes, he's technically fantastic.
So he's a good wrestler, just not a good entertainer. Like,
he's not charismatic.
Like Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah, exactly. Rock and Stone Cold got pops. He acknowledged those pops. He pushed them. But once the moment he realized, you know what, people are going to watch my product, but there's nothing else to fucking watch. I'll push who I want to fucking push. Yep. So if you like Damien Sandow, fuck you. If you like Dolph Ziggler, fuck you.
If you like Zack Ryder, fuck you. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, because he buried pretty much all the internet guys. Like everyone at the internet, like Vince was like, okay, I might give this Daniel Bryan a break just to shut them up. And then the moment he got hurt, it was back to fucking business as usual. They gave it right to Cena and Brock, and it was like, oh, here we go again.
Oh yeah, that Cena was Cena and Brock were direct results of WCW's downfall, and there not being any competition. The only time you can say is when TNA came around. But they still made it bland, and everybody loved TNA. I still to this day think that if TNA would have held out longer past 2010 when they made that stupid decision to bring in Hogan and Bischoff,
yep,
I think TNA would be more of a force to be reckoned with now.
Yeah, they would be fighting with AEW now for that distant number 2. That's what they'd be doing. They'd be fighting with AEW as we speak, and we all win because we would get something in the marketplace. If you don't like WWE, you can go to TNA. If you don't like TNA, you can go to AEW and vice versa. But now we're never going to have that. That's the part that sucks.
There might not have been an AEW if TNA did well. Who knows? Maybe Tony Khan might have invested in them instead. But in my opinion, Dixie Carter should have just been happy being number 2.
Yeah.
Have that cult following. Have people love you for what you are. That you're a difference. Just forget the competition. You don't need, and bringing back has-beens again. Once again, Hogan on his 3rd hurrah working for another company against Vince. Oh, please, it just, oh God, it still hurts me that what TNA once was and now what TNA has become. In a way, they've kind of gone over that bumpy period, but they'll never be the TNA of
they used to be. Yeah,
of the 2000s.
To be honest with you, they're the best wrestling company in the world at the moment, in my opinion. Just because, they've got the better people, they've got people actually care about. They're not just the same people over and over again. I mean, Joe Hendry's just made himself a megastar.
But nobody's watching.
Nobody's watching because here's the thing. When they got kicked off of Spike, everybody knew that was it. When they got kicked off of Spike TV, it was like, oh, fuck, okay, here we go. Because then they started getting relegated to, Destination America and some other network that most people don't have.
And don't care about. That's the problem is that you can have – look at ECW. ECW had some of the best talent and the best programming in the world, but it failed because it just didn't have the pop.
Yeah.
And TNA had the pop in the mid-2000s, but once they got close to 2009, 2010, they were getting
the day they signed Hogan, it was over. Yeah, the day they signed Hogan, it was over. That was when you knew when they came in and they're like, all right, we're getting rid of the 6-sides ring. I know people have mixed views on it. I love the 6-side ring because it made the X Division guys stand out. It was great for that. But it was like that was it. When you started coming in and making all these changes and started mentioning WWE every show, you became just another promotion. You didn't stand out anymore.
Yeah, exactly. For me, the uniqueness of TNA is what I liked about them. Their X division for me was similar to the cruiserweight division of WCW.
Yes,
I loved it. There's alternatives. It was a more faster-paced wrestling as well. At the same time, they still had classic storytelling matches. They gave you the best of all worlds. Not, but most of the time, WWE matches are pretty much the same, unless they're doing a quick squash match. But anyway, but this is more. Let's just not go too much down the TNA angle. I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is.
The thing is that the one that made me hate Vince the most, well, apart from the fair for the Sith, was the one where he talked about screw jobs. He talked about, there's a tradition and all this sort of stuff. I was like, for God's sake. And then he had Wendy Richter, who literally made him a load of money with the faming Sydney Warper thing. And then all of a sudden he screws her over because she won't give, because she wants a decent run with the belt. It's like, what is wrong with you, Vince?
That's that narcissistic thing, man. He's a narcissist. He has to have it his way, Gary. He's got to be in control of everything.
And if somebody disagrees with him, even in the slightest, he cannot handle it. He literally cannot handle it. He created an atmosphere backstage that was so toxic. People talk now. Hold on one second. People talk nowadays about how the atmosphere is so different behind the scenes in WWE because Triple H and Stephanie are in charge backstage.
Yeah, and here's how crazy he is. He fucking hates when you sneeze around him. He gets so pissed off when people sneeze because that cannot be controlled. That is how much of an egomaniac and narcissist this motherfucker is. Like, he once got into like a fucking mood because he sneezed when he and Paul Heyman were pitching ideas, and Vince sneezed and he got all pissed off for 20 minutes and wouldn't focus. Like, Vince has to be in literal control of everything.
And Luke Harper mentioned that as well, I think.
Yeah.
Go through some comments here. They kept this Daniel Vance. They kept talking about some guy named John Cena. You know what, Daniel? Like, that joke is so become a dad joke right now. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Never be ashamed, Daniel Vance. Never be ashamed. Zam is just, he's just behind the times.
Yeah.
He's an empty nester.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Help me pronounce that name. Shubbrand. Right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna call you Shub. But I'm
Shub
British.
sounds good.
We like to abbreviate names. She don't believe in shooting stars, but she believes in shoes and cars. What floor is your new apartment? Copped up in the love and star shit. What the fuck are you talking about?
I
Mate?
don't know.
You know what?
I don't know.
Don't do drugs, man. Trust me, as somebody who used to. Don't do drugs, dude. I recommend it.
I've been watching the attendance. I'm pretty sure that person dropped all that and then left.
That's fair.
Ginger, did you cover? I don't think you covered Ginger's comment about. For me, Owen was the
Owen was. Yeah, without that, and even Undertaker. He I saw on one clip on YouTube Shorts. He mentioned how like him, Owen and Brett were completely different. Brett's a serious guy. I think he was the big brother.
Yeah, they used to fight. Yeah.
Owen Hart is the youngest of the Hart clan. Of all the brothers and sisters. Of course, he's going to be who he is. You know, the mischievous one, the piss taker and stuff like that. It's a shame, he's not around because he definitely, he's got more of a Joker attitude, and I would love to have seen that as he progressed in his career. But that's unfortunately how it is. So we once again going back to this documentary in the first episode, we learned about young Vince and him taking over from his dad, and after that, for second, third, fourth, fifth, and some of the sixth episode, we pretty much got a trip down memory lane with all these different periods. It is kind of amazing. From Hulk Hogan to Bret Hart to Stone Cold and The Rock to John Cena and finally Roman Reigns. All these different eras of wrestlers that have come out from the WWE. But when the WCW was around, Vince McMahon got pissed off because he thought he was using their stars to make WCW a massive product. But what Vince McMahon will never confess to is that when he bought all the territories, he was already buying guys who were already established stars to make his fucking product. What goes around comes around.
He literally stole Hulk Hogan and made him Hulkamania as if Vince created that. It was like, no, Hogan created Hulkamania and AWA, but Vince will never cop to that. He'll be like, I created it.
Was it Bischoff or Meltzer who said that? He said, basically, you're doing they're doing to you what you did to the territories.
Yeah, one of them said that. I don't know who it was,
Bischoff, but I might be wrong.
It might be Eric. Yeah, that said that.
Yeah, I mean.
And here's what's funny. It was funny when he was all like, it's okay if I do it, but then when someone does it to me, I get pissy about it. It's like, Vince, you literally did the same thing. And then when WCW came in and they started being like, all right, do you want to come work with us with more money? Vince got all pissed about that. And it's like, you literally did the same thing. So it's okay when you do it. But then when they do it, you can't have it.
All right.
With TNA, go on, G.
I would say Gary was trying to speak up a little bit ago.
I was just going to say, because the thing is that he was like being very defiant, said, I never want to turn Hulk Hogan heel. And it was just like, that's the reason that you got your asses kicked for 3 weeks. And it just went, because they basically did what you should have done, which is turned him heel. And you got the cool factor and all this sort of stuff. And it was just like, part of me does wish that WCW won, because at least they would have had interesting wrestling on. What we'd be getting for.
Yeah, but I mean, like they were kind of like they got stuck in a rut because they were just all right NWO every fucking week. Hello William Wells. Wrestling. You did get that at one particular point, but when I think about what goes around comes around, in a way, it kind of goes around again and comes. Oh, hello. It goes around and comes around again, but this time in Vince's favor, because Eric Bischoff was right. The Generation X was the New World Order. Pretty much,
100%.
And Vince McMahon, or Mr. McMahon to be more precise, was
Eric Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff's character. Yeah.
And the attitude era was ECW, and no one can tell me otherwise. They blatantly did ECW better than ECW did.
I look at the Attitude Era as a culmination. People just associate with WWE. I look at it as the Monday Night Wars as well as ECW. Like,
Yeah.
all of that. What happened at the tail end of WCW, and also maybe with the NWO and all of that, and the WWE product of Stone Cold and The Rock and all of that. I look at all of that as Attitude Era, as far as I'm concerned. You know?
Yep.
So, but yeah, he won. But once again, Vince, Teflon Vince, he just when you think this guy's going to get fucked over and he's going to lose his business, he wins the fucking Monday Night Wars and he buys out his competition for a couple of $1 million.
Yeah,
honestly, I mean, back when I was watching, I saw that coming because WCW's product was going downhill for so long. And one thing that I give Bischoff credit for is that he's right. Like, and I didn't really realize it until later, but like when the merger with AT&T and Time Warner came down, I can see that. Like, I can see the fact where they're like a bunch of people in a boardroom telling Eric Bischoff how to run a wrestling company,
despite never watching it,
that aren't even watching it. Like they don't even probably watch WWF, so it's like they don't know.
He once said, like, okay, because he told that story 1 million times about how he ran into like 15 executives and 13 of them he's never met before. He said as a joke, "Do you know what night of the week Monday Nitro's on?" And they didn't even figure it out. It was like, "Do you know what week Monday Night Nitro's on?" And they didn't even know what night Nitro was on. So that tells you how fucking brain dead the execs at Turner were. Telling Bischoff how it had to be.
I felt very sorry for Bischoff at that moment in time because he could have tried to turn things around if given an opportunity.
In the Monday Night War documentary, was it Bischoff and Hogan or Bischoff? I think maybe it was just Bischoff was trying to buy WCW. And then
toward the end, he was trying to buy it. Toward the end, he was going to buy it, but here's what happened. Yeah. I'll make it quick. Okay, so what happened was Bischoff and his group buy WCW. You can have the rings, you can have the copyrights, you can have this, you can have that. But here's what killed them: the fact that they didn't get TV time. Without the TV time, WCW was worth $20. It wasn't worth anything, and that was when Vince came in and bought it, and he fucked everything up. The invasion angle was what it was, but that's what killed them: is the fact that they weren't going to get that TV time. They weren't going to get that 10-year commitment to air Nitro and Thunder on the Turner networks. And Turner wanted out.
What I'm saying is Ted Turner to a degree, like bringing in all these executives, who have nothing to do with wrestling. This guy wanted to make WCW work, and then for some reason he wanted WCW to fail. By bringing in a whole bunch of people who know fuck all.
Well, then, I don't think it was Turner. I think that
Ted got forced out. Yeah, Ted got forced out. Ted lost a lot of power. He had no control over his own. Yeah, Ted had no control over his own company before the merger happened because what happened is AOL came in and they're like, you know what, fuck wrestling, and that's pretty much what happened.
Fair
enough. So
yeah.
So back to the shit being that is Vince McMahon.
I want to talk about them buying the UFC. What would have been if they would have done that? Because that would have been interesting to see.
It would have been a fucking clown show. I mean, UFC to a degree is a little bit like wrestling. Right. When you got people like Conor McGregor and stuff like that, but it would have been a fucking clown show, dude.
The XFL for MMA.
I coexisted. I couldn't.
I couldn't see Vince and Dana coexisting. It would have been a fucking fight. That would probably still be ongoing to this day. But Shane wanted to buy UFC, and Vince was like, that doesn't work for me, brother. And Shane should have invested in UFC, but Vince wasn't going to allow that shit.
Well, and also Shane didn't have the funds. That's why Shane went to Dad for the funds, and he's like, no. And I agree. Like, I think the UFC would be an afterthought now if Vince had owned it, because just like the XFL, just like
the the WBF or whatever it was called.
By the way, this was one of the most messed up things I've ever heard. Where when Pearl Heyman tells the story about when Vince and Shane were having an argument, and he gave Shane a knife. He says, "If you want this to happen,
you're gonna have to kill me
right here.
Yeah,
kill me."
I mean, that for a narcissist like Vince who thinks he's untouchable. I mean, that tracks.
Yeah. I could see him saying that. Yeah, I could see him saying that.
And you know what? Like, what's Shane going to do? Kill his dad and not face the repercussions? Like, it's just such a stupid thing to fucking do. Yeah, I'm going to kill my dad and not go to jail for it, and then inherit the fucking company. Yeah, absolute bollocks. You know what I mean? But what it also shows as well is that Vince tried to go out of his lane and he kept fucking failing. Whether it be with the bodybuilding federation, when it came, or the XFL, those things flopped and they flopped fucking hard. He tried to make those expansions of wrestling, so to speak, regarding the sort of like characteristics, in those shows. But what he was better at was wrestling.
Yeah, and then I'm glad that they talked about the fight that he had with Bob Costas, how he and Bob Costas got into it. I legit thought that Vince was going to deck Bob Costas back in the day. It was because they were going there.
But see, Vince, that shows the narcissism of.
We
saw several instances throughout this documentary where Vince loses his cool during a live. I don't know if it's live TV, but at least an interview or something like that, where he's smacking the papers, he's getting in people's faces, and it's like, it's just business. It's just business. Now, it's obviously a little bit more than business if you're acting like this.
Yeah, if you're acting petulant, it's just
Yeah, it shows the ego of the man. The fact that he cannot take criticism whatsoever.
No, he can't. Nope.
He goes, will you let me finish there, pal, and all this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just there thinking, dude, calm down. He's asking you a legitimate question. He's like, I don't have anything to add about people taking steroids. I didn't influence to do it. No, you did influence to do it. You just turned a blind eye, you fucking idiot.
And the way he slapped those papers and stuff, like he tried to intimidate and tried to bully him. I mean, Vince is an intimidating guy. He's built like a brick shit house, especially for a man of his age and all of that. He was absolutely
muscle brute.
We all remember Rock Wrestling 7 of 9. It was a great episode.
And Big Show was in Voyager
in Enterprise.
As well.
Yep, I love
Enterprise. Yeah. So regardless, Vince thought he could push other people around from other genres, and it doesn't work. He doesn't own them. And talking about owning them, like his independent contractor saying, it's a disgrace. He's a terrible person to work for.
Oh yeah,
never ever brought up was the independent contractor saying, you can't do your own thing. And at the same time, you're an independent contractor, and you won't get shit from us other than a fucking payday.
We could have gotten 12 episodes out of this and still only been like knee deep in all this.
Yeah, because there's things they didn't even talk about. Like they completely glossed over the Jesse Ventura's trying to start a union, and Hogan fucking self-admitted it too. He was like, "Yeah, I did it. I stooged on Jesse Ventura," and Jesse Ventura's like, "Fuck Hulk Hogan" to this very day because Jesse wanted to get a union for the boys, and then what happened was Jesse said, all right, fuck this, I'm going to get out, I'm going to go do Predator or whatever, and he got the video game deal or whatever with Sega, and he's getting royalties to this day, so he never has to worry about that, despite going back to WWE pretty recently.
Unions have actually helped him because
he made politics.
Right? No, but he became a governor of Minnesota. Regarding making movies, he's got like some sort of benefit now. I think is it SAG or SAG?
SAG, the Actors Guild.
Screen Actors Guild. He's guaranteed. What I heard him in one of the interviews say is that because of the films he's done, he's guaranteed every year $50,000 fucking dollars.
Yeah,
he's only made a handful of fucking movies. I can only think of 3 films he's been in. Running Man, Predator, and a little bit of Demolition Man. I think he spoke in Demolition Man.
I get $50,000 just for doing those roles.
That's what he told. That's what he said.
It's a union thing. Yep. But what happened was Ventura was all like, all right, Vince, you don't have to worry about me bringing up union again because I got mine, but if the boys are too stupid to go after theirs, that's on them. And that's basically what he said. He was like, fuck this, we should be unionized, but it's never going to happen. I mean, even the people in the buildings that clean up the buildings are union.
Good comment here from Daniel Vance. Hogan's a union buster. Makes more sense. I think he meant to say why he's backing the Big Orange. Yeah.
There's no doubt with Hogan. Hogan's been a right leaning douchebag for years.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm trying to think of some of the stuff that as I said, the stuff that he would make people do I'm talking about Vince here, like back in the era when he made like Trish Stratus back like a dog, and he had flaming like all the flaming divas, flaming falling over him. It's like, God, man,
Take
you're
your
such a
clothes off.
twat.
It was like Cheeto said. Vince gets to live out his fantasies on TV, and that's basically what it was.
Yeah,
They never.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, they never brought up the Edge and Lita sex celebration.
They did show it though. They showed a clip of it.
Yeah,
a clip of it, but like if you heard Lita what she said about it, she did not want to do that. But
they were about to fire her. Yep.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, and then he wants to do all fucking PG, and he wants his cake and he wants to fucking eat it.
We have to talk about this. We have to talk about this, okay? Because get ready for the LOL moment of the podcast. Vince said, and I quote, "The Attitude Era was family entertainment."
Oh my god!
Bullshit. I don't care what anyone says. I was a kid then, and I can confirm the Attitude Era was nowhere near family friendly. Absolutely nowhere near family friendly. That killed me. I almost fell out of my fucking seat when he said that.
Dude, half the things Vince McMahon was saying with a straight face, and that's probably from the Botox. Is like I was about on the floor like this guy.
Vince. I mean, they still had kids watching the wrestling, but it was not meant for kids, you know. Like, regardless, when you got women, exposing themselves in the middle of the ring and shit like that for titillation and sexual gratification, which shouldn't be at all assigned to kids whatsoever. But that's what they were fucking they were doing back then. But they did go PG after Benoit. A couple of reasons why. Obviously, they needed to change their image after the Benoit incident. At the same time, Linda McMahon, who turned into a fucking beach whale whilst watching this shit, Jesus Christ, she fucking put on weight. You know what I mean? I can't believe how fat she fucking became. Vince's wife.
What the fuck, Sam? Come on.
I'm a beach fucking whale.
There's no reason for it. I'm sorry.
You know how it is. If you are yourself like that.
Okay, no, look, I could see if she was sitting there demeaning women, and then she was saying, like if she was demeaning women sitting there as a fat whale herself, sure, but like she. No. Look, I'm just saying how I'm just saying how I saw it. Linda McMahon, she seemed like a slim woman, and now she's turned into a fucking beach whale. And regardless, one of the reasons why they also turned PG was because she joined the Trump administration, and so they had to. Thank you, Ginger.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Regardless, I think.
But okay, so they go PG. They stop headshots. Undertaker with the old school, fuck the video games.
And John Cena comes in, and if you think about it, all the eras, John Cena is the longest top guy in WWE history. Like Hogan never lasted a decade.
Nope. Austin lasted 5 years, if that. Same thing.
Yeah, Austin, WrestleMania 13, he really made a name for himself against Bret Hart. He won the championship at 14, and then by 19, he was done. Yep. You know what I mean? And same with The Rock. He was already in and out of the company by then. He was Hollywood and all of that shit. Yep. People like Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they were top guys, but they were in and out and stuff like that. And John Cena comes onto the scene, Batista to a degree as well, but John Cena mainly. And he's like top guy for almost 20 fucking years.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean? Yeah,
like 17 years, I think.
And they completely glossed over. They completely glossed over like the fact they wanted to hide the fact that John Cena is the reason a lot of us stopped watching and move on. Let's be blunt. Let's tell it like it is. John Cena with the kitty act. I get why they had to do it, but they fucking overdid it with the John Cena body, the dinosaur routine.
It's like anything. It's the writing. Like the writing.
The writing was fucking horrible. Yeah.
As I said, I've always said I like John Cena as a guy. He seems like a stand-up great guy. He's a good face for the company, but like the way they wrote him is like
horrible. Yeah.
He was so stagnant. Like like he was great as a heel. They should have done the hero gig for a little bit and then done the not done the NWO, but like done the Hogan thing where they turned him heel.
I did it for the money, yeah.
I disagree with that to a degree. I don't think Cena was the worst top guy ever. It's just that he was on top for ages, and the thing is that they made it ridiculous.
He was on
Like,
top
when-
because
Worst
of
top
when-
guy
merch
ever was
sales.
Lex Luthor. Lex Luger, sorry, I keep saying Lex Luthor. Lex
No,
Luger was probably the worst top guy
No,
in the
I wouldn't
WWE.
say that.
Who would you say?
I can think of worse top guys than that, like Goldberg, for example.
No, but he wasn't like trying to be face of the company. Like you had
He
people, as I
was.
mentioned, you had Shawn Michaels and Triple H and even Undertaker, but they were never like the Hulk Hogan of the company.
Yeah, they were never the guy. They were the group of guys, but they were never the guy.
Over the years, the faces of the company for WWE have been Hogan, Rock, Austin, Cena.
Yep.
And now
I'll put
Reigns.
Bret Hart in there. I'll put Bret Hart in there.
I wouldn't, because he was not on top long enough.
No,
I mean, maybe
Bret was
during that in between Hogan and
for like
Austin era.
For like 3 years he was, from about 93 to 96. That was Bret's time, and then Shawn came in. I wouldn't even put Shawn on that list because Shawn was only on top when you really stopped to think about it for what, maybe a year and a half, if that. So I would take Bret and Shawn out, and I would have Hogan, Rock, Austin, Cena, and Reigns. Those have been your 5 guys.
Struggled for a lot of those years is because they didn't have a face. They didn't have somebody in that between Hogan and Austin who was the face. And I mean, we all respect Bret, Bret, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. They put the work in. I'm not saying they didn't put the work in, but the problem is that they were not the faces that like Austin, Rock, Hogan, and Reigns and Cena. Like, unfortunately, McMahon knew that those guys drew, and that's why they were crammed down our throats for so long. The only reason why Austin wasn't crammed down our throats for more time was because he left.
He got injured.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rock also left. Cena.
I just want to stick up for John Cena a little bit, because the thing is that he got put into just ridiculous situations that he had no, like, for example, when he beat up the Nexus and stuff like that. That wasn't his idea. That was stuff that he was. That was Vince McMahon going, "Oh, we want the kids to be happy, not that this will be good to build up a new heel faction for us." Because
I have actually, Sorry,
Okay.
Gary. Continue.
But again, the thing is with Vince, he gets very stuck in his ways. He doesn't understand that good storytelling is building up a bad guy or building up a heel bad guy in order for the good guy to beat him. Like, he understood that with Andre the Giant. He understood it with whoever, like Kane and all this sort of stuff. Once you build up a monster, it's okay to beat them, but you need to still remain that monstrous aura. And you seem to have lost that, and I don't know why.
Well, I was never part of that contingent of people who disliked Cena. I just thought he was overly exposed. I think Cena is an amazing. I know this is going to sound really funny. An amazing wrestler. I think he's the complete package. He can wrestle, he can talk, he can show emotion, he's got characters. He's got a bigger moveset than people give him credit for. He's only allowed to display so much.
I will give him. He has a bigger moveset than Rock and Austin, maybe even combined. I'll give you that.
Yep.
Even
when he was like first came in and he had those short tights and shit like that. He was a bit more of a high flyer, agile guy, drop kicks and stuff like that. You don't really see him do that sort of shit that much anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. The WWE misbook him. They really limited his ability. That's why I say I think Cena's good as a guy, but like the way they use him, the way they book him, it's Super Cena and. It's like Reigns. I'm sure Reigns has more talent, but his matches are boring because they just don't let these guys use their athleticism. I don't. Why are we off topic like this?
Formulaic. But okay, getting back on Vince. All right. So getting back to Vince, where were we?
Well, we just go to like near the end of his time. Like once the allegations with Janelle Grant started to surface, Vince did what Vince does. Like he thought, I'm fucking invincible. No one can do shit to me. And I'm going to show up on SmackDown and just get into the ring and say, welcome to Friday Night SmackDown and all that sort of shit.
That was basically his Wall Street Journal of, I'm not fucking leaving, damn it. And that's pretty much what it was. He was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. Fuck y'all. And then like, what was it, like a week later or 2 weeks later, he suddenly retired like out of nowhere.
Exactly. But this is what's so fascinating when it comes to like a particular industry where how you see the guy at the very, very top of the food chain, and that's what Vince was at the time, and yeah, he eventually kind of stepped down because of public pressure, but he was still he hadn't sold the company yet. He was still the man. And then a few months later, after alleging that he retired, he decides to come back. And I remember, I remember how certain people were already who loved the industry when he was gone were really upset that he had come back, and they were already feeling the vibes and feeling his aura within the company, and it was a negative one at that. And then how he was doing what he used to do, which was basically when it came to Monday Night Raw, change it on the fucking fly, and shit like that. And they weren't liking it. They weren't liking it. Sorry, Gary, you got something to say?
I was going to say, because I'm sure this was a time when he started influencing more stuff. Like he started to what's the word? Mess with NXT and stuff like that, because like NXT used to be pretty good, and then all of a sudden it had that Vince McMahon stench over it.
Well, no, I think that has to do with Shawn Michaels, because like Shawn Michaels pretty much runs NXT at this point.
No, but
there was that time though that he made it look like Nickelodeon with like the neon colors and shit like that. That was Vince. And then when they changed the colors and shit, that was when Shawn came in and took it over, and it's been what it's been ever since.
Well, regarding Vince though, once he came back, and we discussed this, and I was wrong. I admit I was wrong because I just couldn't fathom it. Vince was going to sell the company, like. How was
we were all wrong. We all thought he would die.
We all said he was going to die. I remember saying he was going to die.
No, but Jose, you were right. Actually, you said that he was going to sell it and move on. And no, I don't know what you said, but you definitely said he was going to sell it. Yeah. I couldn't fathom that this guy, this egomaniac, this guy who's in control of everything, would sell the company and then lose the one thing he genuinely controls.
I don't think he had a choice. There was the point in this interview where they said, "Do you ever think you're going to retire?" And he said, literally 2 years ago when this was being recorded, no.
Yeah,
and I think that he retired because he was forced out, and to save face, it just made it seem like he retired. But they're like, "You go, or we're going to make this a really big bad situation for you."
It was the Norman Osborn thing in Spider-Man where they force him out and they're like, all right, dude, we're selling the company. You're not staying. And he's like, you know how much I sacrificed? That's probably what the hell happened, essentially. He was
still the majority shareholder prior to selling it. That's why he was able to put himself as chairman of the board. Yep. Because even though he was ousted initially, he kind of done that over public pressure. But the reality is he was still in charge, which is why he came back. And they couldn't do shit about it. Until then he ended up selling. But what he did it. The reason why he did it because he was going to make a heap of money. I think he sold it for $11 billion. Is that correct? I might be wrong.
So
around 9, I think. I think it was $9 billion, but close enough.
Fair enough. I mean, that's just incredible money, regardless. And he was still going to be the chairman of the company, but now he sold it, and he was like 49% shareholder too. So I think 51% went to TKO, so he wasn't fully in charge. And the moment this Janelle Grant thing and other accusations, or more recent ones like the tanning salon thing and shit like that started coming out, he was done, and he actually got ousted.
I'm surprised that a lot of this stuff, this older stuff, didn't come out during the Me Too movement. You know what I mean? Like, I know some stuff came out, but like I'm surprised some of this stuff. Like that's why I'm like, honestly, I'm like, are these cash grabs or are these actual legitimate? And the more we go on, the more legitimate they seem.
And not to interrupt, but we completely fucking missed when he came back, forced his way back. That caused Stephanie to say, "Okay, fuck this, I'm out," because she left when he came back. Mm-hmm. She did not want him there. Triple H didn't want him there. Nobody wanted him, but Vince was like, fuck that. This doesn't work for me. I'm going to force my way because I'm Vince McMahon. I'm untouchable. And he came back, and then the public pressure got to him. And now here we are today, and we can go ahead and get to the end of this damn thing.
Just a couple of things, because Stephanie McMahon always seemed like the person who always had her dad's back. Obviously not when he came back, because she wanted nothing to fucking do with him, which is why she resigned. Also recalling the Mickey James skit at the back where she apparently got sexually assaulted, even though she didn't, and they made that into a skit in wrestling. Remember, she started screaming, going, "This guy's raping me!"
Was that Mickey James or was that?
That was Mickey James.
Was it Mickey James? Okay. I couldn't remember.
But like he made skits of everything. Like that's what he did. I mean, anything he always whatever happened to him, he would try to put that on screen. And some of the controversies he had, like bringing back Bret Hart, bringing in Eric Bischoff into the company and stuff like that. He always tried to market everything. But unfortunately, this is one thing he couldn't fucking market. I said, thank God he didn't, because I'm glad he's fucking on his ass.
Well, I mean, he should have gave it over. He should have gave it over to Shane years ago.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He should, but the guy just can't rest. It's crazy. I wish he did find another project that he could to work on or something like that. But
no, for how much of a dirtbag he is, no, he needs to disappear.
And given that Vince is in his late 220s, I don't think he'll probably be around that much longer because he's looking fucking old. Like he's finally looking his age. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see Vince around much longer, regardless.
He's not far from 80, and him and the mustache and all of that sort of shit as well.
Well, I think he already got rid of the mustache, but
yeah.
The one thing though, it's like one of the things that really got to me was in kind of a good way was the whole Shane McMahon thing you guys mentioned earlier. I meant to bring it up. But like when Booker T was like, when talking about Shane McMahon and like talking about, just wanting approval from his father. And he's like, nobody went through as much as Shane McMahon did, and you felt like, and he's like, and just the way Booker, go back and watch that, like with Booker T, it's just like, you can see that Booker was like, he was heartbroken for Shane McMahon. You know what I mean? Like whatever trauma Booker T has from his past, he identifies with Shane in that.
Because all he wanted was his dad's approval and whatnot. And one thing we forgot to mention was with Vince and his father. Vince's father never told him he loved him until the day before he died. And Vince, I think, he never got over the cycle that he went through when he was a kid and his upbringing, and he passed it on to his kids, unfortunately. And I hope Shane McMahon breaks that cycle with his kids.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing, Jose. It's fundamentally important, and I think he might do. Like that moment when he had his match against The Undertaker and he brought his kids down to the ring. Maybe that was that particular moment. I really hope he does break that cycle. People mention that Shane is the nice one of the two siblings between him and Stephanie, and maybe that is a good thing that he won't repeat, the sins of his father. I hope that's the case, because obviously Vince McMahon did end up being like his dad regarding how he was to his children, and I hope Shane doesn't do that either. Tony Atlas and I used to go to the same pain center. Had the opportunity to talk to him several times. I hope he was
nice.
A nice guy.
Really nice.
Yeah, one half of the first black tag team champions in the WWE or WWF
with Rocky Johnson.
Rocky Johnson, Shane's dad. So. Yeah, and then with all the allegations coming out, he did end up disappearing into the woodwork. The allegations against him, he still has legal issues. Like it's not over. I personally, I don't know about you guys. I don't think. Vince might have to pay a fine or a fee or whatever. Will he go to jail? No,
I don't think so. I think he will fade off into obscurity, and I don't think he's going to see a day. It's kind of like Donald Trump. Out of everything that's been going on, I don't think he's going to see a day of jail time. No. I think you've said that before, Zam, too, about Trump. Yeah. Like he's not going to see a day of jail time for anything that he's done.
I think Vince will probably die. I think realistically he will probably retire from public life and die. I think that's what's going to happen. He will not go to jail. He will die. It will be coming pretty soon, I think.
You heard it here first. D. Jose predicts that one day Vince McMahon will die.
Yep.
Well, one more thing, because people say never in the industry, and it's amazing what shocks we've had. Would Vince McMahon come back into the WWE in some capacity whatsoever?
No.
We talk about something. CM Punk came back, for fuck's sake. Nobody thought he would do it. And
but there's a different angle there. But honestly, Sam, I agree with you. Never say never. Like, will he ever come back as a corporate figurehead? No. Will they bring him back as like a Mr. McMahon skit or something like that?
Hall of Fame, maybe, as far as I can see Vince coming back.
No, they will definitely put him in the Hall of Fame, but I think it'll be
when he dies.
After he dies.
Yeah. I could see Vince maybe coming back one last time.
Because if I'm a female talent and he walks into the locker room, I'm walking straight out.
Good point, Ginger. No, it'll affect stock prices if Vince came back.
That's true also.
That's true. Yeah. Good point.
It's about money. That's the one thing Vince McMahon had right, is that it's all about money.
Mm-hmm. WWE are doing pretty well right now. I'll give them that. But if they hit a lull, you never know. The only thing going against Vince is the fact that he's fucking ancient. He's ancient as fuck. He's already close to being 80. Can he pull off a fucking promo and swagger down the ring without fucking pulling his quadriceps again? I'm not so sure. But and can he cut a promo without sounding like he's dying? I'm not so sure. You know what I mean? But
the one thing I have to give, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but the one thing I have to give Vince credit for is that he actually didn't mumble throughout the entire fucking thing. We could actually understand him. Like, I was like,
there was a couple times I'm like, wow, that Botox is really hitting you hard, dude.
Yeah, because I'm surprised that I could actually make out what the fuck he said, because usually when he's on WWE TV, he's like,
you're very adamant, dude, and not bringing a rapist back.
No.
I mean, I've heard that she's supposed to be coming to AEW. There's been that rumor for a while.
Oh, he's going there. And people I know are kind of pissed about it, but I actually would welcome Shane McMahon going to AEW. I'd be like, all right, shit, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes.
Here's the thing is that if Shane McMahon's going over there to be a character, Shane O'Mac, I'm all for it. Like, get him work. I mean, if he obviously had issues with his father with the company, why not go and work for another company just like every other wrestler would? I'm sorry, it's not a family business anymore.
Yeah,
Vince McMahon made that very clear when he would not hand the business down to Shane or Stephanie until it was forced upon him. A family business is like, you do it until you can retire and then you pass it along. Vince McMahon's like, I'm going to hold on to this tightly and I'm never going to give it away. And it's like when Shane was ready to take it over, Vinnie Mac wouldn't let it go.
And that's why Shane left. That's why he left.
I'm okay with Shane showing up on AEW as the Shane O'Mac personality. If they want to make him a general manager, if they want to make it like, and he doesn't even have to be a wrestler, like a personality on screen.
Yep.
Do it. Get the money, provide for your kids. And wrestling is your business. Now, if Shane goes to like buy AEW, that's kind of a okay. Well, then you're competing against your sister and brother-in-law, but maybe it would create good TV. Like maybe it'd put AEW on the map. I don't know.
You got to look at it like this: if Shane actually goes there to be kind of a creative guy or whatever, you got to think of it like you just said. Like Shane could pitch creative ideas, and if that gives AEW the much-needed shot in the arm, guess who wins? We win because it gives us something to talk about.
All I want is for Shane to take that idea, because I don't think they ever revealed the idea, the idea that Shane was very passionate about wanting to do. And Vince said that'll never happen. And the only way it's going to happen is if you stab me with this knife. I want him to do that storyline with somebody in AEW and watch it be a huge success.
Yep.
That's the biggest fuck you to Vince McMahon.
I think also it'll get views as well. If Shane was back in it, was in AEW, I think even if it's just for a short burst, it will get people watching and see what he's able to do in a short space of time. So
I'd like to see.
Hold on, Diose. Let G go.
I was just gonna say, but as I said, like the whole thing with this is just like, as I said, like the thing is that he condemned himself a lot of times for his own mouth. He's like going like, "Oh, wrestlers need to take care of themselves." It's like, dude, they're your employees, you fucking twat. You know what I mean? And he's like. Oh well, it's my fault. It's this and this. He was talking about the Christmas bar stuff. He was like going, "Oh well, that wasn't my fault." I went, "Dude, he worked for you." He said you had a responsibility to look after him, and it's just like the guy kept ducking responsibility so many times. It was pissing me off.
Yeah, he did. He did duck responsibility for a lot of things. Never took responsibility for anything. Actually, come to think of it, Jose.
Yeah, I could see Shane going to AEW and his first words are like, "Hi, Dad," and he just winks and waves at the camera or some shit like that. Like I could see him doing some crazy shit like that.
I don't think he's bitter towards his dad. I think honestly he's more disappointed in his dad, truth be told. Like just the human being that he's turned out to be. And I honestly don't believe that Shane and Stephanie are that bad of people. Like from what I can tell. Now something may come out next year that proves that wrong, but you don't hear much shade about Shane and Stephanie. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Tony
Stephanie
Atlas did say you can't fuck with Stephanie. You know,
yeah, but
he
that
did
doesn't
mention
mean
that.
like, yeah, she might have that cutthroat business acumen, but like that doesn't mean that she's a piece of shit like Vince.
Yeah,
fair.
And even the Triple H, in my opinion, obviously was thinking of himself when it came to the industry. I do think he thinks the bigger picture. Now he's CEO and he wants to make things work, and you can see that in some of the decisions, not all the decisions, but in some of the decisions, you know, he's made since he's been in charge. I actually think he's loving this more than he's loving wrestling right now.
I do
think,
too.
I do. You know, I think this is where he always wanted to be, like a suit guy in the industry, calling the shots. This is, you know, it's amazing. He probably never thought he'd be there, but I guess marrying the boss's daughter, you know, it can help you. Yeah, so
I mean,
fair
I think,
enough.
truth be told, I don't watch the product consistently, but when I do tune in, like I can see the differences, like that are happening behind the scenes. You can hear it, like in people talking, you know, like the
People
fear
seem
that
happier.
people have of Vince McMahon. They don't have that fear regarding the current regime. You know, like Vince McMahon, you know, people, you even saw it in this documentary, people fear Vince McMahon. Like, I'm pretty sure if you asked any of those people the same questions and you wipe their memory of how they answered before, they'd probably still say the same things because they're like, I don't want to get on Vince's bad side, whether he's in the business or not.
Yeah, because
there will be some people that'll tell all eventually, but I think like Taker, like, and there were questions that some people wouldn't even answer. I'm not even talking about his relatives.
Yeah. This stuff that they did bring up, which I wanted them to, like for example, the Ashley Mazzaro thing. Like the poor lady committed suicide. I think it's about 4 or 5 years ago now.
I thought they did. I thought they brought that up briefly.
They brought that up.
Yeah, they brought that up briefly, and they brought up the scene where, like, I guess, like, Ashley Mazzaro was going to go on Survivor or something, and she got taken off TV by accidentally spilling coffee on Vince, and then Vince went into his egomaniacal, hey, you're going to cry, and she got all uncomfortable. I could see Vince actually being like that with a lot of little ladies in real life.
Listen to that.
Yeah.
All right, so basically what happened was that, do you know when they do those tribute to the troop things?
Yes. Yep. I've heard about that story. I've heard about that story.
Armies. And then there's another story where apparently Vince came on for her, and that's what caused her to finally leave.
I'm sure that's a case with a lot of freaking divas, because Vince, again, is a piece of garbage and doesn't know boundaries. And he thinks because he's the boss, he can do whatever.
Probably there's non-disclosure in the fucking contract.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember Booker T saying that he doesn't want these wrestlers, this generation of wrestlers, to go through what he had to go through. You know, and so I genuinely hope that is the case now, because it is a bit more family friendly. Like, these guys are playing video games with each other and shit like that. You know, it's like the popping the pills and late night partying. It's a different era now. This generation, they don't do shit like that.
And they're also cutting back on house shows too, which is fucking great. Because now, you know, guys ain't going to be getting hurt as much. I mean, yeah, it sucks as a fan. You won't always get to go see your favorite wrestlers, but at least the guys now are only going to be working 200 events a year rather than 300 events a year. So
I think that's a good thing though, because it makes
you
feel more special.
Yep.
Because like this is the problem that AEW has. It's like because people always say to me, "Oh, what's the biggest problem that AEW has?" I says, it doesn't make the guys feel special.
Yeah.
Right? And what I mean is that, like, they don't have storylines that make the guy feel special. Like, for example, WWE has a thing of making their guys feel special, which is like they'll put them in really good storylines, which makes their stock go up. AEW doesn't really do that, and that's the thing that annoys me about them. Is that they could do really great stories. They've got great wrestlers there who could tell great stories, and this is what WWE is doing now. Is just going, like, tell good stories, and then people and just work them less, and people will come and see you because they're going, oh, I want to see resolution to this thing you showed them Raw or whatever. You know, continue the story.
Well, finally, I also hope that we don't get like a generation of wrestlers who are dying too young, which was also I'm really happy they brought that up as well in this, because we recently lost Sid Vicious and Sid Justice. He was part of that old school generation, and for a man to die at 63, it's still fucking too young. It's ridiculous. Somebody of his physical acumen shouldn't be dying that young as well. So I'm hoping that ends as well. But I do blame Vince for a lot of that. It's no coincidence that all these fucking wrestlers are dying in their late 30s, early 40s, and then whilst working for Vince. There's a correlation there. It's because they get worked to fucking death and they end up doing all types of drugs, whether it be performance enhancing or recreational. Because of how they have to operate. Yeah, pain pills and stuff like that. But Vince is, he bleeds these motherfuckers dry when it comes to getting whatever he can out of these wrestlers, and I'm glad that it's no longer the case.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up. Go on, Jose. I'll let you say something.
I was going to just add on to your thought. Like Bret Hart had the perfect analogy that Vince McMahon has always treated wrestlers like circus animals. They break their backs for years and years and years, and end up with nothing when it's over. And I hope under the Triple H era that changes, where guys will actually be able to retire and be able to be smart with their money and be able to live to like 70, 80 years old. That's the one thing I hope that does happen out of the Triple H era, that we see change.
Yeah, because it's not surprising that the one person who has lived into his 70s is Hulk Hogan. To a degree, I'm kind of surprised that Ric Flair has, considering what he's been through. But Hulk Hogan, I mean, he never wrestled every fucking day. He did a lot of wrestling, but compared to those other guys, he was a main attraction sort of guy. So they really only used him for pay-per-views and shit like that. He very rarely wrestled as hardcore as some of these other guys once he was the top guy in the WWE. Anyways, I think we're done, fellas.
I'm putting a poll up, so are we going to rank it? Or
yeah, we can rank it.
One more thing regarding Hogan. He said that the wrestling industry wouldn't survive without Vince McMahon. Hogan, you're wrong again, mate.
Yeah,
because it's surviving pretty well without him. And so
and they're not and they're not having to go back and forth to Japan 400 days a year either, so they don't have to do that like Hogan did. My favorite Hogan lie ever.
Let's go around the clock. I'll start with you, Cheetos. I've been finishing with you recently, so let's start with you. What would you like to rank this out of 10?
Well, thank you for finishing me. I'll probably give this a 6, only because a lot of this information is stuff we've already seen. Like, as a documentary series, it's nice to see all of this stuff mapped out right in front of us, but a lot of this stuff is stuff we already knew. Like, I agree with you guys. Like, I think I read a review on it that basically said they needed to it felt like they needed to get this documentary out before Raw came to Netflix in January, because they don't want the heat of the association of McMahon on Netflix when when WWE's just debuting in January. So I think they're like, we either release it now, incomplete, because that's why I think they put it on hold. I think they were waiting to figure out if a lot of these scandals were coming through, and if they were real. And so they were just like, now we got to finish this and put this out before WWE comes to Netflix. So we're not associated with this heat. We can make it look like we were ahead of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give it a 6. Like I said, not a lot of new information, but I think it was well put together. I mean, this just proved, as Zam, I think, said, or DOZ said, one of you guys were saying, is that we could have a whole season of Dark Side of the Ring dedicated to Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said that. I also agree what you said earlier regarding having this out. And I think they were probably waiting for maybe more information to be revealed. And McMahon, maybe a court hearing or something like that. As it's dragging its feet, they thought, fuck it, let's just bring it out now. So that was the case.
It'll be interesting if they bring out a follow-up after a lot of this other stuff, but I don't think they will, because WWE will be associated with Netflix at that point.
Yep. Jose, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6. I mean, if you're a hardcore WWE fan, you're not going to learn anything new. The one thing that we didn't touch on is that you will see Bruce Prichard, Vince's right-hand man, kiss Vince's ass to the grave.
He did at the very end, man. He was hot.
He and Undertaker looked horrible in this documentary, of all the people that looked the worst.
Well, but Austin too.
Austin too. Yeah, Austin too. But yeah, Shane McMahon, Tony Atlas, and Bret Hart were the highlights of the whole documentary. They were great. Bret gives no fucks. Tony gives no fucks. Shane is Shane. But it was a good watch. I'm glad I saw it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch this a second time. It's like, you know what you know, and that's it.
Yeah, the father figure thing was mentioned a lot, but these were the top guys who were calling him father figures, like Undertaker, like John Cena, as well. So
yeah, but I think that it's not like a father figure. I think it's a godfather figure. Like he's like the godfather of wrestling. That's the way I took. Like I know they meant it, like they wanted it to sound like father, but like if you look at the relationships, no, it's more like because like Bruce Pritchard even said at one point. He said, oh, well, you at the end, I'm glad you brought that up because I remember him saying, oh, well, you're this is like a hit piece on Vince McMahon because when my wife got cancer, which is horrible, by the way, he's like, Vince McMahon took care of it. Well, yeah, that's because the Godfather takes care of his second lieutenants. You know what I mean? Like the Godfather, well, but that doesn't mean the Godfather of a mafia is a good person.
And the Undertaker almost went into tears. He was like, I'll take a bullet for that man. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Come on, Undertaker. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. I've
always said if you got a shitload of fucking money, which McMahon did, the American healthcare system is fantastic. And he did. And that's why fucking Bruce Pritchard's wife got such fantastic care as well. But he was able to afford to do all of that sort of stuff. Jose. Sorry, Gary, what you got to say?
I'll say nothing that we didn't know before, but it was good to hear it come from the man's mouth itself. And he condemned himself a lot. But as I said, like I'm glad it was like interspersed with what's come out about him recently, and the wrestling business is better without him in it. I'm just going to say that. And I'm glad that now I'm part of the wrestling business, and he's going to have no part of it, and he's just going to be a memory, and that's it. So piss off, Vince McMahon. I'm going to give it a 7.
I am with you and Ginger Greek on this one, fellas. I'm going to be giving it a 7 as well. I did enjoy this, but as I was watching it, I thought to myself, you know what, this just feels like a history of. I kind of got more of that by the second episode once we started getting to different periods within the time McMahon was the owner of the WWE, and it was only like the last half of episode 6 and pretty much some of episode 1, which was the most interesting part because those are the parts that were mostly about Vince McMahon. I mean, obviously Vince McMahon was intertwined in things, but they brought up shit like the NWO and Hogan turning heel, and like, these were such. I guess they were important things to a degree, but it was just historical records, documents, and stuff like that. And at times whilst watching this, I did think to myself, you know what? They're probably giving a lot of non-wrestling fans a reason to watch the wrestling once they take it over in January as well, with Monday Night Raw, and this is their way into it by making them do. Here's a previously on WWE for 6 episodes. You know what I mean?
That's what they should call this.
Now you're caught up. You can watch Monday Night Raw next week in January. So yeah, I give it a 7. It was great. Unfortunately, we never really got a conclusion to what we were watching because obviously the charges are still ongoing. But it was a fun watch. This was our Dark Side of the Ring. Vince McMahon, without a doubt, in my opinion.
So far, I'm still hoping Darkseid will eventually pull that pin. Maybe once all these allegations are brought to light and everything is said and done.
Yeah, please. Maybe, I to a degree, but what can I mean? This was like 6 episodes, hour-long episodes. Like Darkseid only has like 45 minutes, and maybe they might do a 2-part or 1.5 hours. Then can they squeeze in as much as what this show did in that and give us new revelations as well?
If they did an entire season, yes.
But you said it yourself, though, that this was basically a previously on WWE. Trim all that out, and what do you have?
Yeah.
You can do more episodes of the Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
Especially with the new stuff that comes out.
Yeah. Okay, they'll have to mention the most significant parts, like the steroid scandals and the Monday Night Wars, and obviously the cover-ups and the sexual assault allegations, and Owen Hart's death and stuff like that, which we have seen in other documentaries as well. So, but regardless, but I'm happy with this. We got a bit of Hulk Hogan in this as well, which was also good because he's significant in Vince and their success stories for each other. All right, we're done. 7 out of 10 for me. It was a good series, definitely worth watching if you're a wrestling fan. and worth acknowledging yourself if you're not, in my opinion, for sure. All right, thank you very much, fellas, and to everyone out there in YouTube land. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. We're on various platforms, including TikTok as well as YouTube, as you're watching this now, and Twitch. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.